For 3,000 years, the Varkuun Empire had conquered worlds without ever suffering a defeat. Their soldiers were not simply warriors. They were engineered for war from birth, trained to survive on worlds where humans could barely breathe, equipped with armor capable of stopping artillery, and commanded by generals who had destroyed entire civilizations before breakfast. Across the galaxy, the Varkuun were known by one name, the Conquerors. So when their scouts discovered Earth, the Imperial Council expected another easy victory. Earth was considered young, divided, technologically primitive compared to the Empire, and dangerously unaware of what was coming. The Varkuun believed humanity had never faced a real enemy. They were wrong. The invasion began at 3:17 UTC on a cold Tuesday morning, when 12 massive Varkuun warships appeared beyond the orbit of Neptune. Their arrival was so sudden that observatories across Earth initially believed the objects were asteroids. Then the ships accelerated. In less than 6 hours, the Varkuun fleet crossed the distance between Neptune and Earth, and every major military network on the planet received the same transmission. A towering alien figure appeared on every screen, covered in black armor, its 4 eyes glowing beneath a metal crown. "Humans of Earth," it said, "your world has been selected for incorporation into the Varkuun Empire. Surrender your governments, your military forces, and your planetary resources. Resistance will result in extinction." The message ended, and for several minutes, Earth said nothing. The Varkuun interpreted the silence as fear. Their emperor, Karos Vey, ordered the invasion to begin. What the Varkuun did not understand was that humanity had learned long ago that silence did not always mean surrender. Sometimes it meant everyone was getting into position. Across Earth, military bases activated. Fighter squadrons launched from underground hangars. Submarines disappeared beneath the oceans. Missile batteries unlocked their targeting systems. Satellites changed orbit. Emergency networks came alive. And deep beneath the surface of the Pacific, inside a facility that officially did not exist, Admiral Elena Ward watched the alien fleet approach on a wall-sized tactical display. Around her, officers waited for orders. "How many?" she asked. 12 capital ships," an officer replied. "Approximately 300,000 ground troops." Ward stared at the display for a moment. 300,000? Confirmed, she smiled faintly. "They sent an army to Earth." The officer looked confused. "Is that good?" Ward finally turned toward him. "No. It means they still think we're afraid of armies." The first Varkuun assault hit the moon. Their forces established a military base there within hours, deploying shield generators and orbital weapons. From the lunar surface, they began bombarding military targets on Earth. Cities shook as kinetic weapons tore through abandoned military installations and communication centers. The Varkuun expected panic. Instead, they discovered something deeply unsettling. Humanity did not attack their main fleet. Humanity did not waste missiles against their shields. Humanity simply watched. The Varkuun commander assumed the humans had lost the will to fight. He ordered the first ground invasion. 80,000 Varkuun soldiers descended toward North America in armored landing ships. Their armor was stronger than anything humans had ever produced. Their weapons fired concentrated plasma, capable of cutting through armored vehicles. Their soldiers were faster, stronger, and biologically tougher than humans. When the first wave landed outside what had once been a major American city, the Varkuun commander transmitted a message to his emperor. "Earth is defenseless." Then the human artillery opened fire. Not one cannon, not 100, thousands. Hidden artillery systems, positioned across hundreds of kilometers, fired simultaneously. The sky became a storm of steel and explosive force. Varkuun shields absorbed the first barrage, then the second, then the third. But humanity had not designed the attack to destroy their shields immediately. It was designed to make the Varkuun activate every defensive system they had. Their shield generators overloaded one after another. Then the real attack began. Drone swarms emerged from underground tunnels, carrying electronic warfare systems that infected Varkuun communications. Their battlefield network collapsed within minutes. Soldiers who had fought coordinated planetary invasions suddenly found themselves unable to communicate with the units beside them. The Varkuun had expected primitive humans. Instead, they encountered an enemy that fought through deception, adaptation, improvisation, and sheer persistence. When the Varkuun advanced, humans retreated. When the aliens chased them, they entered prepared kill zones. When the Varkuun destroyed a human position, another appeared behind it. Every road became a trap. Every valley became an ambush. Every ruined city became a maze. The Varkuun soldiers began discovering something their commanders had never warned them about. Humans were willing to lose ground in order to win battles. On the fourth day, the Varkuun captured a human military base. The surviving human soldiers had abandoned it hours earlier. The Varkuun celebrated their victory, only to discover that the entire facility had been converted into a gigantic electromagnetic trap. When the Varkuun equipment activated, every electronic device inside the base shut down. The humans returned through the darkness. The battle lasted 17 minutes. Not one Varkuun survived. By the end of the first week, the Varkuun had lost more soldiers on Earth than they had lost in the previous century of warfare combined. Emperor Karos Vey was furious. He ordered the deployment of the Imperial Black Guard, the most feared warriors in the galaxy. They were known as the Dreadborn, soldiers genetically modified for combat and trained from childhood to feel no fear. Their armor was almost impossible to penetrate. Their weapons could vaporize tanks. Their commanders had conquered worlds where resistance had lasted less than a day. 30,000 Dreadborn were sent to Earth. The Emperor personally transmitted their deployment announcement to humanity. "You have defeated soldiers," he said. "Now you face warriors." Humanity's response was only 6 words. "Come and see what warriors mean." The Dreadborn landed in Europe. They moved like machines, advancing through cities with terrifying efficiency. Human forces were pushed backward for the first time. Entire defensive lines collapsed. The aliens destroyed armored columns, captured military installations, and advanced toward major population centers. Their commander, General Vark, believed victory was finally within reach. Then he noticed something strange. The humans were no longer trying to stop him. They were guiding him. Every battlefield victory brought the Dreadborn closer to a specific location. Every retreat opened another path. Finally, the Dreadborn reached an enormous valley surrounded by mountains. Their sensors detected thousands of human troops. General Vark smiled. "They are trapped," he said. His second-in-command hesitated. "Or perhaps we are." Vark ignored him and ordered the attack. The Dreadborn charged. Then the mountains moved. Hidden launch platforms emerged from beneath the ground. Hypersonic missiles screamed across the valley. Autonomous drones descended from the clouds. Electromagnetic weapons shut down alien armor. Artillery erupted from tunnels. Human infantry appeared from fortified underground positions. And above them all, Earth's air forces arrived. The Dreadborn had entered a battlefield designed specifically for them. Their armor protected them from bullets, but not from heat. Their weapons destroyed tanks, but could not stop thousands of small drones attacking from every direction. Their biological enhancements made them stronger, but strength meant nothing when the ground beneath them disappeared. The battle became a massacre. General Vark watched as his elite warriors were surrounded. For the first time in his life, he felt fear, not fear of death, fear of understanding. He finally realized the truth about humanity. Humans were not stronger than the Varkuun. They were not faster. They were not naturally more advanced. They simply refused to fight the war their enemy expected. When Vark's forces attempted to retreat, the human commander opened a communication channel. "General Vark," Admiral Ward said, "you came here believing Earth was a battlefield." Vark looked toward the burning horizon. "What is it?" Ward answered. "A lesson." The Dreadborn surrendered 2 hours later. But the war was not over. The Varkuun Empire responded with its full military strength. Hundreds of warships entered the solar system. Earth was surrounded. For the first time, humanity appeared completely outnumbered. The Imperial fleet began preparing a planetary bombardment. Every major city on Earth was targeted. The Varkuun believed they had finally cornered humanity. Then Admiral Ward gave a single order: execute Horizon. Across the solar system, hidden human ships activated. They had been waiting beyond Saturn, Jupiter, Mars, and the asteroid belt. Thousands of small vessels emerged from darkness. They had no giant battleships, no planet-destroying weapons. They were carriers, drone platforms, missile ships, electronic warfare vessels, and modified civilian craft. The Varkuun laughed when they saw them. Then the first human ship accelerated directly toward the Imperial fleet. It did not fire, it simply disappeared. A second later, 3 Varkuun destroyers exploded. Then another ship vanished. Then another. Humanity had discovered a way to weaponize their faster-than-light navigation systems, using microjumps to appear inside enemy formations for fractions of a second before jumping away. The Varkuun fleet had never encountered anything like it. Their massive ships were built to dominate conventional battles. They were not designed to fight an enemy that could appear behind them, strike, and disappear before their weapons could turn. Within an hour, the Imperial fleet was in chaos. Human ships attacked engines, communication arrays, shield generators, and command vessels. They ignored heavily armored sections and targeted weaknesses. The Varkuun tried to regroup, but humanity kept breaking their formations. Then the Varkuun flagship appeared above Earth. Emperor Karos Vey himself had entered the battlefield. His ship was enormous, almost a kilometer long, surrounded by layers of energy shields. Its weapons could destroy continents. Humanity, his voice thundered across every communication channel, you have mistaken patience for weakness. I will personally erase your species. Admiral Ward listened silently. Then she looked at the earth below her. Billions of humans were watching the sky. Soldiers were waiting in trenches. Families were hiding underground. Children were staring through windows at the alien ships above their planet. Ward opened the communication channel. Karos, she said, you made one mistake. Which one? He demanded. You thought we were defending Earth. There was a pause. We're defending humanity. Then Earth's hidden weapons fired, not at the Varkuun flagship, at the space around it. The weapons created a gravitational distortion that trapped the flagship in a temporary pocket of warped space. Its engines failed, its shields collapsed. Human boarding ships arrived seconds later. Thousands of Marines entered the alien vessel. The fighting was brutal. Hallways became battlefields. Human soldiers fought Dreadborn guards at close range. Many humans died, but they kept moving forward. Eventually, they reached the command chamber. Emperor Karos stood before the main viewport, staring down at Earth. Admiral Ward entered the room. Around her, wounded human soldiers raised their weapons. Karos looked at them and laughed bitterly. You won, he said, for now. Ward shook her head. No, you lost the moment you decided humans were worth conquering. Karos stared at her. What will you do with me? Ward looked at the thousands of alien soldiers being captured across the planet. Send you home. The Emperor looked confused. Alive? Yes. Why? Ward answered. Because your people need to know what happened here. Weeks later, the Varkuun survivors returned to their empire. They did not return in victory fleets. They returned in damaged transports, carrying wounded soldiers and the bodies of thousands of their dead. The greatest warriors in the Varkuun Empire had come to Earth believing humans were prey. They left understanding something far more terrifying. Humanity was not the strongest species in the galaxy. It was not the oldest. It was not the most technologically advanced. But humanity had something the Varkuun had forgotten how to possess: the ability to adapt. The Varkuun had spent thousands of years perfecting one way to wage war. Humans had spent thousands of years surviving wars that constantly changed. The Empire had soldiers who followed orders. Humanity had people who learned from failure. The Empire had perfect weapons. Humanity had imperfect weapons used creatively. The Empire had conquered worlds by making enemies afraid to resist. Humanity had built its entire history around resisting impossible odds. And that was why, when the final Varkuun ship disappeared into deep space, Earth did not celebrate with fireworks. There were too many graves, too many empty homes, too many soldiers who would never return. Admiral Ward stood alone on a hill overlooking a ruined city as the sun rose behind her. A young soldier approached and asked, "Do you think they'll come back?" Ward looked toward the stars. "Probably, and if they do," she smiled slightly, "then we'll teach them again." Because the Varkuun had come to Earth expecting to collect another conquered world, but they discovered something the galaxy had forgotten. Humanity does not need to be the strongest creature in the universe to survive. Humanity only needs a reason to stand, and once humans stand together, even the galaxy's greatest warriors can be sent home in coffins.